Welcome to Black Nouveau. This is our episode for March 2018. I'm Joanne Williams. This month will mark the 50th anniversary celebration of the March on Milwaukee for Fair Housing. We'll talk with members of the committee who still believe we have much more to do. The shooting of Michael Brown by a policeman in Ferguson, Missouri is the focus of Dael Orlandersmith's Until the Flood. We'll talk with the author about the play. It begins this month at the Milwaukee Rep. He was a promising young man who made a mistake, paid for it, and turned his life around. We'll share Michael Williams' story with you. You know, in the past 2 weeks, the film version of Black Panther has shattered box office records and become a cultural phenomenon. It didn't come as a surprise to Henry Smith, who runs Toy Dimensions and has been an avid comic book reader and collector since he was a child.
The film version of Black Panther shattered box office records and introduced the Marvel superhero to a new generation of fans. But if you've been a longtime comic book reader like me, you know that the Kingdom of Wakanda came into existence in 1966 when the Black Panther was introduced in an issue of the Fantastic Four.
He was created around the time of the Civil Rights Movement, which was a very crucial time in this country. And I think it was something that was needed to happen to show that we needed something to look on and to be inspired. Black Panther, you've got this guy that is a king, royalty, that he's in this country that's advanced in technology and in resources, and you've got these characters that are powerful, and you know they set an example that there's nothing that you can all kinds of things you can be able to do.
Henry Smith owns Toy Dimension in Milwaukee, and it enables him to pursue two of his passions, comic books and collecting memorabilia.
One thing about comics, it got me to just expand my interest in other things. I say from the age of 12 to 15, I spent every Saturday afternoon in the public library reading other books besides my comics, because it got me wanting to just devour anything else I can get. I read books on science and history and books on movies, because I'm a big movie fan. And as I've gotten older, I've read books on sociology and even to this day, I've got a stack of books like this at home I'm still trying to weed through.
While he was reading, he was also collecting.
I started collecting when I was 14, and I collected for about 40 years. Collected Marvel as well as DC and other titles, and learned all the origins, storylines, and it just got me to the point where it's just something I knew that I wanted to be a part of.
His shop has a lot of movie memorabilia and comic books.
I used to manage a comic book shop, Collector's Edge, back in the 90s, and it got to the point where it became pretty easy running a shop, and I just had the thought, I want to do my own store. Now, I'd been collecting toys since '88. By about '92, I had about 1,000 items in my collection, and I'm thinking, I think I can do this. So in 1997, went looking for a storefront, started putting together a product, and November 4th of 1998, I opened the shop.
He also runs a local comic and toy show at Burnham Bowling in West Dallas. And though a snowstorm was raging when we taped this on Super Bowl Sunday, people still came to look and shop.
The event has been going, actually we have the distinction of being the longest running comic and toy show in the city of Milwaukee. It originated in 1977 down at the Plankington House, and it bounced around a few places before it landed at Burnham Bowl in about 1982. Now, I've been running it since about 1990, and that we get between 30 to 40 dealers that set up there to sell comics, toys, other collectibles. Hey, Roy.
Yeah, I didn't either.
We looking on your loose guys here.
Which guys here?
These guys here.
Oh, those are brand new right out of the package. 15 apiece. They're brand new right off the press.
Okay, all right.
I'm not excited about Black Panther.
So this is from '77. It's the story, and the thing is that the pages are clean. The record is without a scratch. I mean, this is a mint item as far as I'm concerned. $25, totally great. But since it's a throwback, so you get all the John Williams music, you get the story, it's the whole Star Wars thing. I mean, I think that's why most people come here, is that you get to relive past. But if you look at it, I mean, the record is just gorgeous. I mean, there's just no scratch.
The key to collecting is going out there, researching what you're looking for, deciding if you want to get it either in the packaging or getting it loose, and deciding what you were willing to pay for it.
They were dark, therefore not considered pretty. They were dark and large.
Alma graduated early. She doubled up on her credits. She was very determined to graduate early, and she did.
That boy does like you, and you're gonna have to find a way to catch him for one of them yellow girls snatch him away from you.
I'm going to die if I do not touch a girl.
That's a clip from the Milwaukee Reps production of Yellow Man. Dael Orlandersmith's examination of interracial prejudice made her a Pulitzer finalist. The award-winning playwright and actress has been writing and performing for quite a while.
Coming up in the 70s and in the 80s, there was, the musicals like Sophisticated Ladies and all of that. I don't sing and dance. Then in terms of, and I don't have to sing and dance. And then in terms of film, and in terms of like straight plays, I mean, there was nothing but, drug dealers and stuff. How many ways can you say ho? There's not too many ways you can say that, So I kind of got disgusted, so I began to write my own stuff. So what would happen is I would just kind of come in and do a riff at, alternative clubs, like sometimes CBGB's would have that. It's a rock and roll club in New York, New Eurekan Poets Cafe, places like that. And then people began to see me around, and then that's how. But I was an actor also as a child, because I was with the New Eurekan Poets, best known for Colored Girls and for Short Eyes, when I was a teenager. So I began to write, because also it's about a physical type. I was always someone who was always taller and bigger than everyone. And so I always played character actors. I was 13 playing 60-year-olds, so there's also that. So I didn't fit into any genre. No one knew what to do with me.
Until the Flood is one of her more recent efforts, and it chronicles the killing of teenager Michael Brown by Darren Wilson, a white police officer, in Ferguson, Missouri. The event happened in 2014. The production was commissioned by the St. Louis Repertory in 2015.
They want to get a sense of their city, a sense of what does race mean? How can we bring people together? How to make sense of this.
So she interviewed a number of citizens about the shooting.
And back then, when I was a young girl, no black policeman, same as now. Isn't that something? Gun is a powerful thing. Person's life is important. Person who can't see past that is a dangerous man. I'm 17. Sometimes I feel 70. Sometimes I feel 70, and I want out. Spill my blood.
I am a writer, and I think the role of the writer is to be a universalist. And even though I may write about people of color, I write about all kinds of stuff.
What happened to them as kids? How were they made to feel about themselves? Maybe I sound naive, but this is what I think. It was like they were looking for me and Sonny and all the guys to be victims. Like they were looking to save us. I mean, they nice girls and all, but hey, I go to Ferguson all the time to check on my houses. They know not to mess with my house. They know I got friends on the force, and they know I don't come alone.
I'm interested in universalism. What are the things that repel us, but also what are the things that bring us together? And with Until the Flood, I wanted to look at this shooting and see how everyone felt about it, because certainly there's the ramifications of race. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, because within 2015, I believe it was, 48 black men were killed randomly and or attacked. Then you've got the individual stories about how people feel about race, how it becomes a catalyst for race, the Michael Brown shooting.
Like I said, I live in the Canfield projects. And if you look at a project or low-income houses like Canfield, it looks like a prison. Feels like one too, feels just like a prison. And I went up to both of them and I said, gentlemen, and I mean, when I call you gentlemen because you were born gentle, would you like to pray?
Then you've got the individual stories of Darren Wilson and Michael Brown. So it's just so textured. You know, it's not, for lack of a better term, just black and white. It's also human. And the complexities of that humanity and inhumanity, which also makes it human. What's going to happen with this, and what's going to happen every place I go, people are going to want their individual sense of justice at the expense of someone else's truth. And that can't happen. So what can you take away from it? What truth can you take away from it? What can you apply or not apply? Because I'm not someone who gives messages. I'm hoping that it opens discussion. I'm hoping that I hope my individual, me as an individual helps open discussion, but for me to give messages, that's not what I do. But it's not that I'm indifferent. I have to have a healthy sense of boundary. I'm a theater worker. It's about a beginning, a middle, an end, a story, a conflict, and a resolution. Then also, what does it mean for the audience? What does the audience take away from it? Because a lot of times audiences say, okay, I paid my money, you entertain me. Not all theater is like that. It's also your responsibility. Just because you pay your money doesn't mean everything goes. You can do anything and everything and say everything and anything you want at the expense of. So with this piece, I'm giving you an array. What do you choose to take away, or what do you choose not to take away?
Mike was, let me just say, someone who was motivated. Education was everything to him.
He kind of stood out as being, in my opinion, a star student. You know, always on time, always prompt, had good questions, and self-motivated.
These expressions of praise showcase Michael Williams, a CNC machine operator at Snap-on. His story is of someone who was on the right path, ended up doing wrong things, and then coming back to the right path and being successful. One of Williams' supervisors at Snap-on has similar opinions of him.
Michael brought to Snap-on a lot of machining experience and ability to learn and troubleshoot. He learned his job very quickly. And the quality I like best about Michael is I think other people go to him as a go-to guy.
Michael's journey started back in high school. His early educational training was gotten in California. On returning to Milwaukee, he was ahead of his class and graduated at 16. The summer of 1997, he came to MATC. By the age of 18, he had earned an associate's degree in computer electronics from MATC, and now a job hunt, which would not be easy.
I think me being that young and going out and searching for jobs, and I'm only 17 or 18, and I'm putting this on the application that I have an associate's degree, I think people were just blowing me off and not giving me a chance, you know, not even asking me for my credentials, or they just kind of let me apply for the job, and nobody never called me back, you know, never asked me for an interview. I would even call back some of them, and they say they filled the position.
Not being able to get a job led to bad choices.
So I just started hanging out with older people and just doing the things that they did. and I ended up getting involved with selling drugs. It's things I wanted, you know, like I wanted the nice clothes, I wanted to look good and things of that, and my parents couldn't afford that. So the only way I can get it was to get it on my own.
Getting it on his own led to jail and later a probation violation.
Well, I was incarcerated on a probation violation, and I was currently working a job doing CNC. And when I got back, the staff told me about MATC coming with a program that might be beneficial to my work. And so I asked to sign up for it, and they taught me a lot more than what I knew.
The program was the CNC Reentry Program, a program run by MATC and the Department of Corrections.
It operates by selecting candidates from incarceration that might fit the program, and then MATC brings them down here and trains them to learn how to run the machines.
His electronics degree helped him a lot.
It played a big role with coming over to the CNC because it's mostly numbers and programs and, you know, just putting them together to make something.
And if you're wondering what CNC stands for,
Computer Numerical Control System, and basically machines are ran by numbers, and they use a sequence of numbers to make different things that we use every day. There would be tools, jewelry.
What I wanted him to do was be able to let guys and women know who are returning home from prison that if you take these steps here, these are the things that can happen for you.
And these are things Clifton Keeler with MATC has seen happen with Mike, someone he sees as a role model.
Don't be afraid, you know, don't think that because what you did is a bad thing. You know, everybody goes through things in life. It can be a great thing if you use it to your advantage. You know, people are not scared of people that have been to jail. They're willing to help you. You just have to go out and talk to people and just seek the help.
One thing I always tell people, and I say this when I'm talking to people that's coming home, if you can give an institution, a state institution, years of your time, you can get that time and give it back to yourself. Because at the end of the day, no one controls you but you.
Well, you got to have a positive attitude, and that's what I liked with Mike. I mean, he has at the time when he was coming through the school, his son, I think, was 14 or 13 years old, and knew he wanted to make a change for the better. And now, from having still communicated with him, he's bought a house and he's got a good, stable job.
He's not only being a role model to those who have been through the correctional system, he's being a role model for his son.
He knows all about what I've been through in life and how I came about to be the person I am today. And I try to encourage him to do the same things, to do good in school, and you know, that way he can move forward and be somebody in life. I think anybody that's been in my situation should, you know, embrace what they've been through. Go out, seek people to help you. Find out what you want to do in life, and don't stop pushing for that, you know, because it can't happen.
The March on Milwaukee for Fair Housing began on August 28, 1967. It ended about 200 days later in mid-March. Historians have noted that it was a factor in the passage of the National Fair Housing Act of 1968. Last August, the March on Milwaukee Committee kicked off its 50-year commemoration of that event. We're joined now by two members of the organizing committee, Adam Carr and Edward Wingard. Adam, let's start with you. You wanted to commemorate what happened, and you wanted to make it sort of a rallying point for current social activism. Did it succeed?
It's a good question. So I actually, beforehand, I looked at our calendar that we've been putting together that's been groups around the community, ranging from big institutions down to people just at their dining room table have contributed events to this calendar, and I counted a little over 160. And this ranges from film screenings, panel discussions, lectures, to workshops, marches, all kinds of different things. And so are we satisfied? It was a lot of things. And I think it showed the strengths of Milwaukee's community, the many ways that looks. But I do think on a personal note, the magnitude of the history and what the open housing marches were and how we've kind of forgotten them in these last 50 years, I don't know that we could have ever really, I don't know if I could ever feel really satisfied with what we could accomplish 50 years later.
Edward, the original marchers, many of the original marchers, were teenagers and high school students, and you're only a year away from high school.
Yeah.
What did you think about that, and how did you want young people to be involved in this particular commemoration?
First thought that was amazing, because when I was in high school, I tried to start I don't want to say like a workshop, but it was more like a mentorship with the seniors and the freshmen. But it didn't go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. Like it legit. Like we had probably like 2 or 3 meetings, and that was it. But once I graduated, and then I learned about the March on Milwaukee, and learning that the Commandos and the NAACP Youth Council, they was my age. It ignited a fire, so that I can just that helped me believe in myself, knowing that not only being present in a space, but I also can actually move forward with my activism.
The young people that were involved in this commemoration over the last several months, what did they know about this before they got involved?
Whew. Okay, a lot of people didn't know much. A lot didn't know much. It was a few people that said, oh yeah, you know, now that I think about it, I think they might have said something about the March on Milwaukee when I was a freshman, you know, but it wasn't much. And so a lot of us didn't know nothing about it, in a nutshell, honestly.
You know a lot now, though.
Yeah.
What,
a lot more.
Now that you're coming to the close of your 200 nights, are you going to have any sort of closing activities? Is there going to be a big celebration?
As has been the nature of our whole process, it's been very organic. So we're still kind of figuring out exactly what our final celebration will be, but we're looking at mid-April as a time to have a celebration. I think one of the things we've realized throughout this whole process, Ed and I have been talking about this a lot lately, is a lot of the marchers never really got a proper thank you, weren't really celebrated. And even for some of them for 50 years have felt kind of ostracized because of their involvement. So we're looking at a finale where we can say a resounding thank you to the marchers, which they deserve. And then even beyond that, that's kind of, you know, after 200 days of this, for some reason we don't want to stop. We've been looking at other ways to move forward. And there's the potential we've been discussing of historical markers being planted out in the neighborhoods where these marches happen. And potentially, we'll just say it on the record so that we can hold ourselves accountable, we're looking at a monument. And that might be something that takes a few years to realize, but something that recognizes Vel Phillips, the Youth Council, the Commandos, and Father Grappi.
Where would you put it?
You know, and that's kind of, we don't want to determine that. That's going to be a community process. I think that's the way it actually goes.
I think it's more important if we actually had that conversation to see what's the best place, because I feel like that's not a committee thing. I feel like that's a neighborhood thing, because it's just like at the end of the day, they made a difference for the entire community, and that's something that we need to take place.
Between now and the end of March, what other activities are there?
So we're having, from the youth committee, we're having a few workshops. And we having a few workshops. We're going into different schools, and organizations, and we're just trying to mobilize young people and just trying to see what areas of concern do you find important, and how can we make a difference, and then going forward to make a difference. And currently, right now, we started a media campaign where we are thanking the Commandos. So that looks like just taking a selfie or taking a video and thanking the Commandos, the NAACP Youth Council, and just showing our appreciation for what they've done. And then just finishing up, like post it, so there's a picture, video, right, and then.
This was mostly a young person's activity 50 years ago. There's a big young person's movement going on right now, coming out of Florida. What do you think of that?
I think, you know, in the run-up to the anniversary, the 50th anniversary, the shape of 1967, 1968, and 2017, 2018 are almost spookily similar to each other. Even looking at Milwaukee's history, kind of an uprising in '67, followed by the marches. In Milwaukee, we had Sherman Park, followed by 200 Nights of Freedom. And I think it just demonstrates the fact that our current moment is as ripe for change as it's ever been.
Well, thank you both for coming and talking with us. Adam Carr and Edward Wingard with the 200 Nights of Freedom, commemorating the open housing marches here in Milwaukee. If you want more information, where can you go?
200nightsofreedom.org.
Okay. Thank you both for coming and talking with us on Black Nouveau.
All right. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you.
Join us for the next edition of Black Nouveau on April 5th at 9 p.m. on Channel 10. We'll talk with filmmaker John Ridley Jr. and hear from Sister Strings. Now it's not just TV anymore. We're also on the web and on Facebook. We have a web exclusive of the Fresh Perspective Art Collective's exhibit, which is called Urban Heroes, Urban Wood. It's currently at the Wisconsin Black Historical Society. We post new material constantly, so look for us at MilwaukeePBS.org and follow us on Facebook. But wait, there's more. There are more ways you can connect with Black Nouveau. Call us and let us know what you like, what you don't like, and share any story ideas you have. We want to hear from you. The number is 414-797-3760. 414-797-3760. And that's our program for this month. For Black Nouveau, I'm Joanne Williams. Remember to celebrate Black history.